Tonight on CTV3 News, hit-and-run traffic accident near San 7 roundabout claims life of elderly man from San Roman Village, Corozal. Belize, where we at with the coronavirus. And the GOB takes a serious look at price gouging. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, January 9th, 2023.
Ever since I was a kid, I've dreamt of going to Mars. You can keep my dream alive.
Come with me. You cannot, under any circumstances, leave my room, okay? Only for 35 days.
Enjoy your favorite HBO original series and movies with
Centaur, your kind of company.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Good evening with your news, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. A senior citizen was the victim of a fatal hit-and-run traffic accident over the weekend. The incident occurred on Saturday night at around 9:30 p.m. The incident happened along the San Esteban Road here in Orange Walk. The victim, 74-year-old Romaldo Che, originally from the village of San Roman Corozal, was riding his red bicycle on the San Esteban Road heading in the direction of Orange Walk Town when he was knocked down by an unknown vehicle traveling in the opposite direction. Che, according to reports, was dragged approximately 500 feet from where the accident occurred. Instead of stopping to render aid, the driver of the vehicle made good his escape And tonight, police are asking for your assistance in locating him. If you have any information that can help in this investigation, you are asked to contact the nearest police station. Coronavirus began in China more than 2 years ago, and since then the virus and the fear of it have been spreading around the world. Here at home, the Belize COVID report from the Ministry of Health and Wellness indicates that Belize has seen a total of 688 COVID-19 related deaths. Belize has seen 6 waves so far. The first 2 waves were from the original variant, while the third was from the Delta variant. The 4th, 5th, and 6th waves were from the Omicron variant and its sublineages. BA.5 and Omicron variant remains dominant for the latter part of 2022 and now 2023. Today, via Zoom, we had a conversation with Dr. Melissa Diaz, Director of Public Health and Wellness. Dr. Diaz spoke on the existing panorama COVID-19 still has in country.
Although the BA.5 subvariant is dominant at this time, it has been denoted that 4 new subvariants are rapidly increasing in a number of cases. So far, we know to date that there is no epidemiological evidence that these sublineages, particularly XBB and BQ.1, will be of any greater risk compared to other Omicron sublineages. The reproduction number, so the reproduction number is what we call the row, and that tells us how many persons would get infected from one infected person. And for Omicron, it was 5, and now for its sublineages, this number has gone up to 15. So if one person is positive, they have the potential to infect 15 other persons with the exact virus. So that really just speaks of the transmissibility of the COVID-19 Omicron variant and its sublineages. The genome sequencing should commence in January. I don't have a specific date. I know that we're waiting for reagents, and I know that the Baylor College had helped us with the genome sequencing. So I recently spoke to the person at the lab who has been doing the genome sequencing and giving information, and he has said that in January, they will restart with the genotyping of the positive PCR swabs. We do not remember all of last year, we were doing genome sequencing, and we had detected the Omicron variant in 100% of the samples that were being genotyped, especially for the latter part of last year. And we had detected many of the subvariants as well. But we don't know about the sublineages of the BA.5 at this point, which is XBB, BQ, and BF7. We haven't received any reports about that. Obviously, those were newer sublineages and circulating more in bigger countries, but there is a possibility, but I would not want to guess. We need to wait to see what the batch in January shows, and then I would definitely let the media know what we're detecting in Belize. But to say that from the experts at WHO, at PAHO, at CDC, and at CARFA, the message is the same, that the Omicron and its sublineages do not show any increased risk of severe disease. There's no increased hospitalization seen in any of the countries where these sublineages are circulating at this point, but we do know that they have been deemed more transmissible.
In an abrupt change of policy, China began dismantling the world's strictest COVID regime of lockdowns and extensive testing, putting its battered economy on course for a complete reopening this year. The lifting of restrictions following widespread protests means COVID is spreading largely unchecked and likely infecting thousands of people a day, according to some international health experts and news outlets.
According to a report by WHO's Technical Advisory Group on Virus Evolution, so they're called the TAG-VE, and I'm quoting, as nations clamp down on travelers from China during an Omicron surge, their Chinese health experts have told WHO that 2 known Omicron lineages are dominating the current Chinese surge. This is BA.5.2 and BF7, accounting for 97.5% of all locally acquired infections in China. These variants are known and have been circulating in many other countries, and at the present time, there are no new variants reported by the Chinese CDC. End of quote. China has only recently lifted the zero COVID policy, likely leading to an increase in transmission. And in addition to this, we must bear in mind that there are many uncertainties with regards to the efficacy of the vaccines that were used in China. So these two factors compounded may as well be contributing to the current surge experienced by China.
While China strives to control its COVID infection rate, the surge in patients in that country has prompted other nations to consider new travel restrictions on Chinese visitors. Countries including India, Italy, Japan, and Taiwan said they would require COVID tests for travelers from China. The US says we know what to expect.
I want to quote from the executive director of CARPHA, that's the Caribbean Public Health Agency, Dr. John St. John. And she said that several coronavirus variants that are causing surges in the United States, the United Kingdom, and China have been circulating in the Caribbean since last year. She urged regional countries against shutting down their borders or implementing any travel restrictions as a means of curbing the spread of the virus. She continues to say that we are scientifically unjustified in trying to stop any particular country from coming to the region because of fear of COVID-19 variants, adding that we are not seeing the level of illness that we saw when Delta was circulating rapidly. Throughout the pandemic, the strength of our health system in Belize has allowed us to keep our vaccine uptake high and our case fatality relatively low at this point. The surveillance system in Belize is rigorous, and it helps us to detect COVID-19 as well as many other infectious diseases quite efficiently and effectively. And this is ongoing at all our health facilities. So it helps us to very quickly pick up any change in positivity rate or change in hospitalizations.
While Belize has had the COVID-19 numbers under control for the past months, it is a collective task to ensure that those numbers are the lowest possible.
Over the last 2 weeks, we have seen a slight decline. I think last Monday, the positivity rate was 12.4, and the week before, I believe it was 15 or 16. So we are seeing a decline, and also what the information that we're getting from our health facilities is likewise that the number of persons coming in have lessened, and the number of persons testing positive as well has lessened. So we are seeing a gradual decline at this point. We've got to wait to see what today's numbers show, because we can't just look at 1 week. You know, it has to be a consecutive decline for us to say that, yes, we are recovering from this last wave. We've got to keep in mind that positivity rate is only one calculation that is done to look at the spread of an infection, because positivity rate is based on the number of persons who actually come in to get tested as well. So we've got to keep all of that in mind. We do know that if persons, the hospitalization rate would then really help us to pick up the severity of the disease, because people who are ill would then go into hospital to get checked. So we need to wait for at least 2 consecutive weeks of reduction of numbers for us to say that, yes, we are definitely seeing a downward trend from this wave. Because we don't have any public health mandated measures, it's something that the proprietor of the business would make the decision on. But I do know that now, especially over the last few months, we have recommended a lot of personal responsibility. So if the business doesn't have it, we recommend that, you know, you carry your small bottle in your bag, or you do your hand washing. If you're at a workplace, you get up and you do your hand washing regularly, or you have your hand sanitizer on your desk. So there are many things that we can also do to protect ourselves and our family on our own as well.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness provides a COVID-19 report every Monday and is available on its Facebook page. The Director of Public Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz, today also explained in great detail about the BA.5 subvariant of the Omicron and its descendants. Dr. Diaz also spoke on why citizens shouldn't underestimate this new dominant form of the COVID virus and existing vaccines available.
When we report total population vaccinated. We're talking about the first 2 doses of the vaccine to say that you're fully vaccinated. And this is slowly going up, and I can say it's very slowly at this point. We did see a slight increase over in December when we saw that the numbers were going up with cases that were positive. But having said that, it still remains a very slow increase of the total population. I believe, I don't have the exact number, but I believe that we're a little under 52% of the total population being fully vaccinated. Now, that doesn't include the persons who have gone in for booster doses. And we're still available at all health facilities. We continue to encourage the use of the COVID-19 vaccines. If you have not been vaccinated, we ask that you come in, get vaccinated. We've had 2.5 years of distributing and collecting data with regards to the vaccines, and it has definitely proven for us as a country that it has helped us to reduce the severity of the disease, and it has really helped us to reduce the mortality rate, the case fatality rate of the disease. And we saw that especially when we had the outbreak with the Delta wave, where our case fatality rate went down slightly because of the introduction of the vaccines when compared to the original strain circulating in Belize in the early 2020. So that's really very important. It shows us that vaccines save lives, it reduces severity, it reduces morbidity, and we are continuing to encourage persons to come in and get vaccinated. And if you have not received your booster, that as well is very important, to come in and get your boosters.
The ministry is looking into strategizing to catalyze the vaccination of Belizeans, including children.
We have had to adapt throughout the COVID medical response. I think that it was clear that not only in Belize, but many other countries had to adapt and to make changes to strategize in order to ensure that we were getting as best as possible the uptake for the vaccines and reducing hospitalizations. And we have already adapted significantly to the numbers coming in now, because many of our vaccination places that we had opened, we have now closed down, and the nurses are back in our health facilities. But we do have, especially in Belize city that's very populated, we do have designated nurses to help us so that nobody has to go in and wait for long periods of time for the COVID vaccine. So we have, for instance, at Cleopatra White and at Matron Roberts, someone there to ensure that the person who comes in for the vaccine can give it. But we're also at the point with the communications team and with maternal and child health, we're revisiting a lot of our ads that we had previously and looking at ways to improve risk communication to our population and to the community in order to ensure that the uptake of this vaccine improves. At this point, I believe for persons 12 and over, we do have significant vaccines that are not about to expire in the next month or two. So we do, we are continuing to work on the strategy and continuing to revise what has not worked and try to implement what we have seen that has worked.
The elderly and persons who suffer from a chronic disease such as diabetes or lung disease are those more vulnerable to the virus. But for some reason, children seem to be relatively spared, according to the World Health Organization.
When you look at and you analyze the mortality and the demographics of the persons who have died from COVID-19, we know that the elderly population has suffered the greatest loss, and persons with chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, HIV. And we do know that older persons have responded more severe to the disease than younger persons. So we will be looking at procuring more vaccines, of course, but at this point, I just want to take the opportunity to say as well that we have the flu vaccine that's available at all our health facilities, and the WHO recommends the flu vaccine for pregnant women at any gestational age, for children 6 months and above, and for the elderly 65 and over, for health workers or anyone with chronic medical conditions. So it is really important for us not only to go in and ask for COVID-19 vaccines, but also for the flu vaccine as well.
Vaccines are currently not available for persons ages 11 and below. However, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Johnson & Johnson are available at Ministry of Health and Wellness centers countrywide for those who need their vaccination. At the last meeting held between the government and the joint unions, a proposal to have public officers play a role in the reporting of price gouging and any failure of local businesses to issue receipts following purchases was laid on the table. The proposal was reportedly welcomed by PM Briceño, who said that he will urge the Price Control Unit to review it. But while government decides on which route it will take, the problem of price gouging persists and consumers are getting antsy about the situation. On Friday, Minister of Agriculture told the media the Attorney General is already looking at the amendment of the law to mitigate the issue.
EAG's office had prepared a draft, an SI. We would have to amendments to the law, and we have that already. But we do not totally disregard the public services recommendation. But can you imagine, I mean, the public service is already accused of being corrupt in many instances, you know. So you have to really know what you're doing. You send public servants into the stores for them to see who's gouging. Can you, I mean, opening that, I mean, I think the risk is there. So what we need to do is strengthen the supplies control team and to see how we can go out and control gouging. It is, in many cases it's gouging, in many cases it's not. The cost has really gone up. And so I don't totally disregard the union's proposal, but we have to be very careful how we handle that. We just can't send people out in the street and say, oh, you're a public servant, go and see who they gouge. No, that is opening, it's a delicate situation.
The reports that you have been receiving, are you noticing it happen in like one specific area, one set of stores, maybe larger stores compared to smaller stores?
The survey done by our team, our supply control team, showed that Belize City, I think, and it was the smaller stores that had that they found to be above the prices.
Two Belize City men are tonight at the Central Prison after they were arraigned in court for firearm offenses. 34-year-old Gilbert Gujar received a reduced sentence of 2 years imprisonment, while his comrade, the 24-year-old Mark Waite, is on remand at the Belize Central Prison. Police caught the duo double riding a bicycle on Victoria Street and Barak Road in the Old Capital. When police searched them, the officers found a firearm loaded with 5 rounds of ammunition on their possession, which led both men being arrested and charged. Gujar attempted to take the rap for the weapon by pleading guilty, but the charges were not withdrawn from Waite. This morning, Gujar and Waite appeared unrepresented before Magistrate Denison Manan, where they were jointly charged with 1 count of kept firearm without a gun license and kept ammunition. Magistrate Manan made it clear that the offense is one that he could not impose a non-custodial sentence due to the existing crime situation in the country. Gujar was sentenced to 5 years but was reduced to 2 years based on his guilty plea. Waite, on the other hand, was remanded into custody at the Belize Central Prison until March 2023. Of note is that Mark Waite was acquitted of the murder of a Mandala reporter, Kareem Clark, in June 2019. Coming up next, WhatsApp messenger spreads false information about COVID-19 subvariant. Stay tuned.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
Sharon Pitts has won a legal battle against the government. Joe B. had taken Pitts to court on the primary that she had unjustly enriched herself after receiving a whopping 400,000 Belize dollars paid out to the public purse. This was after she was given a duplicate land title for a piece of land around the Halover Bridge that already had an owner. It all began in 2016 when the son of former Deputy Prime Minister Gaspar Vega, Andre Vega, was also compensated with $400,000 after he was given a duplicate land title for a parcel of land near the Halover Bridge. Both Pitts and Vega's parcels added to some 2 acres, 1.6 acres for Pitts, which he purchased in 2012 for a price tag of $10,569 Belize dollars. After much uproar and pressure from Belizeans, the Borough administration sought to recover the monies paid out to Sharon Pitts and Andre Vega on that famous November 4, 2016, when GOB sent out a communique vehemently demanding that both Pitts and Vega return the monies. But that never happened, and both cases ended up in court. In 2020, Andre Vega was ordered to return the $400,000 because the courts found it to be that he unjustly enriched himself. On the other hand, the Pitts case was thought to have been resolved through mediation, but that did not work out, so Pitts was also taken to court in 2018. That ended, and the judge in the Supreme Court, Lisa Showman, handed down a verdict in favor of Sharon Pitts. Showman decided that Pitts did not enrich herself since she was not the one that erred issuing her own self a duplicate land title for a parcel of land that already had ownership by another. Pitts made sure to lie her up, and in an interview to our colleagues at 7 News, Senior Counsel Hubert Elrington says it could have saved the government if they had sided with the letter he sent.
I said to the Attorney General Ministry, and I addressed the letter to the Attorney General, that having regard to what the Court of Appeal had found to be the law in the Andre Vega case, there could not possibly be any ground for any allegation that Miss Sharon Pitts had behaved improperly or had broken any law or had conspired with anybody or had gotten any money.
Unjust enrichment.
By an unjust or fraudulent act. And in view of that, would they still wish to proceed with their claim against Miss Sharon Pitts? I thought that we could resolve the matter by negotiation, by just settle it. But apparently they were very, very, very firm in their belief that they could get the court, the Supreme Court, to find and make a decision that was contrary to what the Court of Appeal had said. They wanted the Supreme Court of Belize to defy the Court of Appeal and to find that there was unjust enrichment and improper and unlawful behavior on the part of my client.
Sir,
that raises the issue that they were acting not in good faith, that they were in fact damaging our character there was a element of defamation where they intentionally set out in the most egregious way imaginable to destroy our reputation, that the Court of Appeal said that, look, where the minister issues a grant, whether it is a lease, where he issues a fiat, whether it is a lease fiat or a grant, freehold, that conveys a right or an interest that has value. And because it has value, and because the wrong originated in the government's office, not in the office of the client or Ms. Sharon Pitts, then that the government is the one that is to blame if anybody is to blame.
So Sharon Pitts gets to keep $400,000 paid out of taxpayers' monies for a land she bought for a meager $10,569. WhatsApp users have been receiving messages about COVID-19 regarding the COVID Omicron XBB subvariant. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says the message is foreign to the ministry. Via a press release, the ministry says MOHW advises the public not to share this WhatsApp message as the information is false and will cause unnecessary panic and continued misinformation. The World Health Organization has advised that the XBB subvariant is not deadlier than the previously dominant Omicron subvariants and has confirmed that the symptoms of XBB remain mild or similar to that of the flu. The World Health Organization has declared the spread of false information online an infodemic. Today, the Director of Public Health and Wellness was asked about the origin of the WhatsApp message.
Unfortunately, we haven't investigated where it originated. I had seen this WhatsApp message earlier last year, actually, probably in November, October, but it was not circulating like it did a few days ago. I don't think that our opinion is that that didn't originate from Belize, because I have also seen other Caribbean countries, and CARFA has also said that they've received a lot of information that this fake WhatsApp message has been circulating, not only in Belize, but in many of the other countries of the Caribbean. So I'm not certain where it originated, which country it was, and I believe it's just something that came into Belize and was circulated locally. You know, people may have genuinely thought that it was something from the Ministry of Health in Belize, but I don't have much more information on that.
If you have received the WhatsApp message being circulated, the best thing to do is disregard the message. Do not click on any links and block the number. Depending on your service provider and the phone model, there are ways to report spam messages. If you can, report this spam to your mobile phone provider to try and stop the spread of false information. In early June of last year, after the government reviewed a proposal for an increase in a 16-ounce loaf of bread that had been submitted by the country's bakers in April, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise announced that the ministry and the Supplies Control Unit was instructed to meet with the bakers and engage in negotiations to identify a more feasible alternative. Not long after, GOB indicated that subsidies will be provided to offset increases in the price of flour to ensure there are no major hikes in the most essential of foods, bread. That subsidy ended in December, so on Friday, the Minister of Agriculture was asked whether consumers would now experience an increase in the price of the product.
We are this week getting the reports from our officers, and because in November, it was reported that the price of wheat was to go down. The last shipment went down, and we don't know when the next shipment is coming in, but we need to look at that first before we decide what we're going to do, how we're going to move.
Is there a new airline offering more flights coming to Belize? Well, to get the answer, we went on a desk research and came upon the following. The truth is that the Dominican Republic-based startup Arajet Airlines has received the green light to begin both scheduled and unscheduled flights to Trinidad from its base at Santo Domingo's Las Americas International Airport. But not only that, Arajet also received permission to fly routes to Brazil, Honduras, Barbados, Guyana, and Belize. The Civil Aviation Authority in the Dominican Republic says operations are expected to begin in March using the company's existing fleet. Arajet Airlines is known to be an ultra-low-cost airline that began operations in September 2022 and currently flies to 18 destinations in Latin America and the Caribbean. We reached out to CEO Kennedy Carrillo in the Ministry of Civil Aviation for a comment on whether Arajet is set to land planes at the PGIA. Via WhatsApp, Carrillo said, quote, Arajet has approached their government regarding this and have gotten the approval, but they are yet to approach our Department of Civil Aviation and receive clearance. The approval from their Civil Aviation Authority does not necessarily mean that they will start flying to Belize anytime soon, unquote. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, January 10th, here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at CTV3BelizeNews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at Facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.